got to fight this guy. Oh, you got injured in camp. You lose to that guy too. Now you're set back when you could have been a champion.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of like weirdness going on with possibilities and, you know, just luck, bad luck, and good luck.
Bad luck and good luck. Timing, I think, is a big thing.
How is something like this allowed to happen? How is Jake Paul allowed to fight Gervonta Davis? It's completely unfair. It is completely just, I can't say the word that I want to say because I don't want to get canceled.
And then going out there and taking on a guy that is maybe 92 pounds heavier, that is at least 65 pounds heavier than you. That is called one thing. That's called being a bull.
Clip 1. Joe Rogan delivered one of his most candid critiques yet regarding Jake Paul's decision to step into the ring with Gervonta "Tank" Davis. He described the matchup as a reckless imbalance, a violation of boxing's core principle that weight classes exist to keep competition fair and fighters safe. Rogan reminded viewers that these divisions aren't arbitrary, they're the sport's built-in safeguard against dangerous mismatches. When that structure is ignored, he warned, boxing stops being a contest of skill and becomes a test of survival. In Rogan's view, Jake Paul's motivations seem increasingly rooted in spectacle rather than sport. He argued that the event is being crafted to generate viral buzz and financial return rather than a meaningful display of competition. The difference in size and strength between the two fighters, Rogan explained, isn't just noticeable, it's alarming. With Jake outweighing Tank by a significant margin and carrying heavier power, the risk of real injury overshadows any potential for fair play. His conclusion was direct and unfiltered. Boxing thrives on balance, and when fighters cross such extreme physical divides for the sake of publicity, the sport itself takes a hit. For Rogan, integrity and safety must always outweigh entertainment, no matter how big the spotlight shines.
Sure, but no time limit within the weight classes.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
That would be pretty wild.
Yeah, that'd be pretty
crazy.
Because
you know, like two guys are facing off each other, like, and they know, like, there's no rescue every 5 minutes.
Yeah. And you go into it knowing you're either getting knocked down or submitted, or you're doing that to the other person.
Michael Bisping delivers his verdict with trademark bluntness, calling Jake Paul's decision to face Gervonta "Tank" Davis a dangerous deviation from boxing's core values. In his view, the matchup isn't just unconventional, it's fundamentally unfair. Bisping stresses that weight classes exist to preserve integrity and safety, creating a level field where skill, not size, determines the outcome. Yet in this case, the difference borders on absurd. Jake Paul is preparing to fight a man nearly 100 pounds lighter, an imbalance that shatters the spirit of competition. Bisping draws a sharp comparison to Jake's earlier bout with Mike Tyson, which was already met with concern given Tyson's age and long absence from the sport. That fight, he notes, tested the boundaries of ethics and spectacle. But now, with Tank Davis, a smaller, active, and elite fighter, stepping into the picture, those boundaries are being pushed even further. To Bisping, this isn't innovation, it's manipulation. He suggests Jake Paul's team understands the marketing power of controversy and is exploiting it to generate attention, regardless of the sporting implications. The matchup, he warns, risks crossing from entertainment into exploitation. His message is clear: true boxing thrives on balance, respect, and fair competition. When those foundations are ignored, the result may draw eyes, but it also erodes the credibility of the sport itself.
That's called being a bully. It was bad enough when he fought Mike Tyson, a man that was 58 years old, and he was walking around like, I just beat the baddest man on the planet. I just destroyed Mike Tyson and went out there and I beat him, and him and his brother are all celebrating and shit like that. It's like, dude, what are you doing? What don't you understand about this? If you want respect from your peers, if you want everyone on the planet to look at you and take you seriously and give you credit as a boxer, you have to take on challenges that are real. You have to go up against someone that keeps you up at night, against someone that gets you out of bed in the morning to go for a run because the fear of them beating you down is real. Not going up against someone that is so small. If you were to go up to this guy in a bar and try and start a fight with them, people would look at you and say one word: whoa, stop being such a bully. Leave him alone. You are way bigger than this guy. And that's clearly what we have here. It is ridiculous. When you look at the tail of the tape, Gervonta "Tank" Davis, granted, a very, very skilled boxer, a world champion. He's had some great wins. He's had a tremendous career. He's got 28 knockouts on his record. I'm just looking at the tail of the tape here. 30 years old, Jake Paul, 28. Gervonta Davis is 5'5" tall, whereas Jake Paul is 6'1". I would never dream on picking on a guy that is 5'5" tall. Granted, there's some tough guys out there that are 5'5", okay? They're smaller guys, you know, but for 5'5", they'll pack a good punch. Typically, they're mixed martial artists or boxers.
Teddy Atlas didn't mince words when breaking down the face-off between Jake Paul and Gervonta "Tank" Davis. From the moment they squared up, Atlas captured the obvious in one sharp observation: the size difference was almost surreal. With trademark wit, he quipped that Tank would need a ladder just to reach Jake's chin. But beneath the humor lay a serious concern. This wasn't just a clash of styles or personalities, it was a glaring physical mismatch. Atlas explained that boxing thrives on contrast, speed versus strength, precision versus power, but there's a point where those contrasts become dangerous. In this matchup, he warned, that line has been crossed. Tank Davis, as skilled and explosive as he is, simply isn't built for a man of Jake Paul's size and reach. His natural frame limits how close he can get, how effectively he can engage, and how safely he can execute his game plan. To Atlas, that imbalance changes everything. It shifts the fight from a legitimate sporting contest into a questionable spectacle, where the outcome feels predetermined by physics rather than talent. His takeaway was blunt but measured. When one fighter's physical advantages outweigh the other's skill set to this extent, it's no longer about testing ability, it's about testing limits, and that's a risk boxing should never take lightly.
Things, right? They should also have like the size of the ring, the size of the glove, all that stuff. Particulars should be in the contract. But I would probably look for one thing that is not the common thing to have in a contract if I'm Tank: a ladder. A ladder. Can I get a ladder? Somebody? You know what I mean? Hey, look, if he hits him on the chin the way he can punch, Jake might be doing a dance. You know what I mean? Not voluntarily either. But we'll get into that more later. The thing that I'm talking about right here is what you said. It was stark. The size difference was really, you couldn't ignore it. We understand the talent difference, the experience difference. We understand all of that. But the size, the pure, and we understand small guys can beat big guys. We just saw Crawford do it to Canelo, but you know, a little different. The size difference was, I mean, it was eye-catching, jaw-dropping. And it made me think, and I'm going to ask Richie, our man here who's doing all the taping, who does such a marvelous job. I'm going to ask him, because I know he's an expert in this area, but it reminded me of one of the Rocky movies where they had where they did the wrestling thing with Rocky and Hulk Hogan, a.k.a. Thunderlips. He was Thunderlips back then.
Joe Rogan cuts through the noise with his usual blunt precision, arguing that Jake Paul's recent choices have drifted far from true sporting competition and deep into the realm of spectacle. In Rogan's view, these fights aren't built on fairness or legacy, they're designed for maximum attention. Every matchup, every headline, every viral moment is carefully calculated to dominate the conversation, not the rankings. He explains that Jake Paul isn't just fighting opponents, he's fighting for relevance. In an era where clicks and controversy drive the industry, Rogan suggests that Jake has mastered the art of manipulation, knowing exactly how to blur the line between athlete and entertainer. Every unexpected challenge, every provocative call-out, keeps his name trending and his brand thriving. Rogan doesn't dismiss Jake's effort or improvement inside the ring, he acknowledges that the work is real. But his criticism runs deeper. When the chase for spectacle outweighs the pursuit of competition, boxing risks becoming theater. His conclusion is pointed and clear: Jake Paul may be wearing gloves, but what he's really selling is show business, not sport.
It's a problem. That makes it a problem. My opinion is, I just want to say, in case someone calls me into court, I'm a fucking idiot and I don't know nothing. And don't take my advice.
I love the Saudis.
Don't take my opinion.
I love the Israeli government. I love everybody.
That had nothing to do with them. That was Jake Paul promoting it. You know, it's just doesn't bother me.
There's compromising the sport, and that's like bad. It's just like
if I bet on it, it
watching
bothers the
it is
fuck out
hard.
of me.
Watching it with people who are so in on it, and then also the sports betting apps. They introduced like chat apps in them in Australia, so it's like they're trying to take the place of social media companies where you go together and you meet your friends. Like betting should be exciting enough without having a weird.
They're just trying to draw you in.
thing.
They're just trying to make money, right? So they're trying to draw you in.
Leonard Ellerbe pulls back the curtain on the truth behind Gervonta "Tank" Davis stepping away from a proposed clash with Lamont Roach. He explains that the decision had little to do with competition, and everything to do with mindset. Behind closed doors, Tank was navigating personal battles that demanded his energy and focus, the kind of challenges that even the most elite fighters can't simply power through. Ellerbe makes it clear, boxing isn't just about physical preparation, it's a mental war long before the first bell rings. When a fighter's head isn't in the right place, no amount of training can fill that gap. Forcing a fight under those conditions isn't bravery, it's recklessness. In his view, Tank's choice to pause wasn't an act of fear but of discipline. It showed maturity, a recognition that longevity in this sport comes from balance, not burnout. Ellerbe frames the move as a reminder that real champions don't just know how to fight, they know when to step back, regroup, and protect the foundation that keeps them standing.
Leonard Ellerbe said,